Hello.
Hi. And welcome to another episode of Have You Seen? With
Nick.
Lance. So this week was the movie that I got to pick for Nick.
Yay, Lance's turn.
Yes, I pick all the best ones. And if you haven't figured it out by the crap in the background.
And foreground.
The movie I asked Nick is, Nick, have you seen Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I hadn't.
Yeah, but now...
But now, yes. It's when we sat down and watched this very evening.
Yes, we did. So it's fresh on the mind.
Yeah.
And
which I guess is both a positive and a negative. Sometimes it's time to ruminate on it. But then also, if you wait too long, I just forget shit. Because I do a lot of TV/movie/video game absorbing.
So, yeah, it can get muddled in there. But,
yeah, it gets muddled real quick.
Well, then maybe the format we'll start doing is you come over earlier in the day. We watch the movie, and then we have like a cookout and hang out. And
Too much effort.
Okay. Don't want to hang out with me. Got it.
I hang out with you a lot. You get to see me every single week. That's more than most people get to see me.
That's true. Unless you watch all of our videos, and you get to see Nick every week, too.
No. Except he gets to see me slightly more, because then it's every other Saturday we get to hang out, too.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Out of all my friends, you see me the most. Feel that warm feeling in the chest.
I feel special.
You managed to get me out of the house, which is a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, it's literally trying to figure out how to get BA on the plane, but I'm attacking you with movies.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat easy. So until, of course, I start asking you to watch Stinkaroos, then that's probably when it's going to turn. But nah, we're still being nice to each other.
Yeah, so far, no movie has been a deliberately bad one that we're just like, I just want to talk about this awful movie. Because usually, with bad movies, if you have to either watch them with someone in the same vein of the MST3K sort of, you watch the bad movie, you make fun of it. It's apparently not very comfortable in the cage.
No, well, I mean, she hasn't been in there that long, so
No, she's fine.
She's a free range dog.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so let's go ahead and do let's go ahead and give our numbers.
Well, it's your movie, so but you start.
Okay, so I'm guessing you, or I'm showing my number first.
No, it's you. No, it's you. You give what your rating for the movie is.
Okay. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, I will give this movie a perfect 10.
That was close.
Yeah. So
I kind of had some help in guessing how much Lance is a fan of Ghostbusters.
Oh, I mean, it's straight up old school Ghostbusters. Like, watch the real Ghostbusters, like all of it. I'm a Ghostbusters fan through and through. I would try and join the Ghostbuster Corps that go walking around at Dragon Con, but I just don't have the commitment to build the proton pack. I wouldn't ask anyone to ever build me a proton pack, and I also don't want to be the human equivalent of Slimer as a Ghostbusters, because I'm just a big fat. No, I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna try to lose some weight, and then I'll eventually do that. But okay, I'm going to guess that you gave this movie a.
Oh, do you want me to say it first?
Yeah.
So I think I'd give this movie a 7.
7? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I enjoyed it, but...
So I was close.
One off.
I was close. I'm always one off.
I was one off, too.
Yeah. But, okay. 7. That's better than I thought you were going to do.
It's better than average. I mean, I enjoyed the movie enough. So, I watched, like, the original movies when I was a kid. And I think, like, when I was younger, I'd watch, like, the Ghostbusters cartoons or whatever. But it never really carried over much. Kind of like back in the day, I used to watch TMNT and stuff like that, but that never really carried over to adulthood, kind of like Gargoyles and some of the other things I liked back in the day did. So, I'd watch I've not seen Ghostbusters 1 and 2 in so long that a lot of the stuff that they were probably making reference to, that I'm like, that's a reference to something. And that's as much as the reference as I got, because they kind of went like, and I'm like, it's highlighting that object. That's a reference.
See, I really thought about making you watch like some kind of like the finer beats of like the first movie.
No thanks.
You know, like the first movie in like 2 minutes kind of a thing, just because like the whole Ivo Shandor stuff and all that, like it all is a direct tie, like with what they put in this thing. So we'll talk about it more, but like basically we are heading into spoiler territory.
Yeah, this one's a new-ish movie. I mean, it's several months old at this point in time.
But it's just
But
this.
we're going to start talking about plot points in this movie. So, I mean, I don't know if you like Ghostbusters, you've already seen this movie, and if you don't like Ghostbusters, it's at least a 7. So, I mean, it's got some stuff in it that's enjoyable.
So go watch the movie, come back, finish the review, and put down in the comments like what we said that is wrong.
And we also gave you 2 weeks to watch this one. So, if you have not watched it and you wanted to watch it, shame on you. You get 2 weeks.
Word. Why are you making us wait?
I know, seriously.
Like,
I have been thoughtful enough to keep bringing up every single time when Lance is like, no, I'll just wing it. Or be like, I'll think of something over the next quarter. I'm like, no, Lance, you need a movie at the end of this episode, so people have 2 weeks to watch the movie.
Yeah.
I want everyone to have time to join us in our journey of forcing each other to watch movies.
So if you, hopefully you're just now coming back because we are in spoiler territory.
Yep.
So here we go.
There we go. All right. So this was one that I think you went to the theater and you're like, Nick, you need to go to the theater to see this movie. And I'm like, I don't want to go to the theater. It was like at the end of 2021, where pretty much it's like, I still don't want to go to the theaters. And I don't miss theaters.
You can't miss. To me, you there are certain movies, in my opinion, that you have to go see in the theater on the big screen. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like watching it in the house on a little TV monitor or something like that. That's fine. If you like, we've got a nice size TV in our den, but like we don't have the sound like that I would want. Like going in, like Amber and I went and saw Maverick. And, like, to me, that is a movie that you have to watch on the big screen at least one time. Because, like, watching it on TV, sure, it's going to be fine. But, like, the roaring of the jets, like, the super, like, fucking cinema audio, like, it's overwhelming in all the best ways. In my opinion. Just my opinion. Might not be a popular opinion, but...
Yeah.
But I still just love going to the theater. And I know that theaters will probably die out in my lifetime, but... that'll be a sad day.
Yeah, I think at that point in time, it would just be invest in a home theater. Because, I mean, it's a thing we kind of used to have, like the speakers up in every corner of the room and made movie watching at home an experience that just kind of like became a hassle to hook all that shit up. So it's just not a part of it anymore. But it's the experience that could be done at home.
Yeah.
And I think you could get the gist of it. But then you just have pissed off neighbors when you're watching movies at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And
Fuck them. I mean, that's...
I don't want my neighbors to be like, fuck them. So I don't do that to neighbors either.
Most neighbors are already like that anyway. So
And they kind of are.
Yeah, it's like most neighbors are putzes. You'll be lucky if you get that 1 or 2. I've got like the 1 or 2 that I like around my house, and then like the rest of them don't like me for some reason. But you know what? Their problem, not mine. So, but yeah. So this movie to me is a perfect 10 movie, and I'll say why. So I thought the casting was brilliant.
Yep.
So, and some of these people were just so good. So you had Carrie Coon as Callie, the daughter of Egon. Paul Rudd as Mr. Gruberson. Like, that man, I still have yet to see him in something I haven't liked him in.
Yeah, but he's always just Paul Rudd.
But he's so like, I don't know. He's like that dude that you would definitely want to go and like get a beer with. Because like even watching Hot Ones, like he did Hot Ones with Sean Evans, and like he just seems like that dude that's like always down to fucking road dog with you, and just like he just seems like he's a genuine good guy. I hope that's how he is in real life. But you had Finn Wolfhard as Trevor.
But knowing that he was in this movie, I thought he was going to be like the central character. He really wasn't. It was Phoebe.
Yeah, it was Phoebe's show. McKenna Grace.
She was kind of like the star of the movie, with kind of the other ones being like the other main cast. Like Finn was another lead, but he just wasn't like the lead.
Right. Well, he was like the brother of the lead.
Yeah.
So
he was the driver of the Ecto-1 essentially.
Well,
he did his own like little investigation kind of. So I mean, he was in it, and he had an important part in it. It's just like the story wasn't like centered around him.
Right. You had Logan Kim as Podcast. You had Celeste O'Connor as Lucky. And that was your main 4 Ghostbusters. So Phoebe was Egon. Finn or Trevor was Winston.
Yeah, because he was kind of like the non-scientist at all, just kind of like the mechanic. Or whatever.
You had Podcast, who was basically Ray.
Which one's Ray?
Ray Stantz, Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd, okay.
Yeah, and then you had Lucky, Celeste O'Connor. She was basically... and I've seen some people that have swapped certain characters around,
But she's Bill Murray because she's
Yeah.
just kind of sarcastic
Yeah,
and funny.
she's adorable. She's sarcastic and funny, and she's got like those quips. So, and that's to me, she's more she's more of
Venkman?
yeah, Venkman, Peter Venkman. So to me, she's more of a Peter. But like I've seen some people like switch some of these around. You cannot.
Something we didn't do, and they all go on pun and suits. Do they all say Spengler, or did he have each of their suits?
So he just had hers. So podcast wrote his name in.
Oh, okay. So
Like I don't remember seeing Lucky's or.
I mean, we were just watching the movie. I wasn't paying attention to fucking the name tags on the suits, but I wasn't sure if Egon had all of their old suits because it seems like then they came and they were wearing copies, or I imagine you have more than one suit because they get slimed.
Yeah, I think she was wearing like the real deal. Like she was wearing Egon's suit.
They were all just wearing some of Egon's suits. Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if they each had like he's wearing Spengler's, he's wearing Venkman's.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Forth.
I don't think there would be any reason he would have taken like Peter or Ray or Winston's suits. I think they were just like extra suits in case like some were in the wash. And I imagine that
just blank suits with no tags on them.
Yeah,
except for the one
you could like rip off the one and like put it on another suit or whatever. But like I do remember, like I was looking to see if like the names were on the suits, and I do remember the one shot where podcast it's like he wrote it in with red marker on his. But I don't remember seeing one on Lucky's outfit, and I don't remember seeing one on Trevor's outfit. So that's something that we can actually go back, or you could put in the comment if you happen to notice that.
Yeah. It's first viewing for me, and we didn't really pause and be like, hey, let's look this scene over, which is not usually a thing I do with movies anyway.
No,
I'm not the pause frame by frame, find all the Easter eggs sort of person.
Well, that's also not the thing we do. We don't do that here.
Well, I just mean even for my own efficacy, or as it were, to be like, man, this movie drew me in so much, I have to figure out. I'll go to YouTube, and other people will figure this shit out for me.
Yeah. So you had Bill Murray return as Peter, Dan Aykroyd return as Ray. You had Ernie Hudson return as Winston. Annie Potts showed up as Janine.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver showed up as Dana, but she had like she just did like the little bit parts.
Yeah, she had a smaller part than Bill Murray.
Yeah. But I mean, she's it's like come back, like take a few seconds, like give the fans what they want, get a check.
Yeah.
I'd
do it.
No shit. You had J.K. Simmons as Ivo Shandor, and we'll talk a little bit about Ivo Shandor's part because, like like you said, it's been a while since you've seen the first one.
Yeah, I've not seen those movies since maybe the 90s or aughts.
And I'm not going to go too hard in the paint on it because I know there's a lot of people who don't give a shit. So
there's one right here.
You had Bokeem Woodbine as Sheriff Domingo.
And I think he's like we saw him and he stood out because we like last month watched the Total Recalls, and he was in the remake. He was like the buddy of Colin Farrell, right?
Yes. Okay. And then you had he was also Herman Schultz, who was basically Shocker, I think.
Oh yeah, okay.
In the Spider-Man,
the second Shocker, because the first one,
yeah, he got obliterated.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and that's the main cast that like stands out. I wanted to give a honorable mention to. So you had, and so Josh Gad apparently was the burps and
the muncher.
Burps and squeaks.
Yeah, it's
and,
when the credits was going by. I'm like, like Josh Gad was the muncher. Because like it reminds me of Alan Tudyk being like the rooster in Moana. Like, who's paying attention to that shit? Like, we need rooster sounds. Get me Alan Tudyk.
It's the thing I love about that particular thing is they have like a video of him on YouTube going bark, 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 and then he goes, "I went to Juilliard." I laughed so fucking hard when he said that. I was like, "Hey man, you're doing your thing." You had Shorin Agdashlu,
yeah,
as the voice of Gozer,
and she's just got like a very gravelly, super dope voice.
She has like that smoky kind of like voice and like, but she's just
it's like she was in Arcane as one of the enforcers that like got gacked pretty early on.
Yeah,
and she was in like Mass Effect as one of the commanding Quarians. Not Quarian. Quarian, is it Quarian?
Quarian.
Say in the comment. Quarren Star Wars.
Say in the comments how wrong we are.
No. Quarren's is the Illithid in Star Wars.
Okay, well,
The Mon calamari in the core, and then the Korean is the shelled up race in Mass Effect. It's all very close together, and that gets muddled up in the nerd
right
brain.
now Amber is in the comments going,
No, I think you got it right. I was gonna get it wrong, but you think you got it right.
Olivia Wilde was the body of Gozer in this movie, and I think she looked really good compared to whoever did it in the first movie, because she still had like the high top,
Yeah.
flat top kind of thing going on. So to me, this movie is a perfect movie because you had the parallels of the characters for the new cast that were directly parallel to the original cast. The movie was heavily in the spirit of the first movie. They're continuing the storyline, which was the major arc of Ivo Shandor mining this metal that has like this resonance that will like open this dimensional pocket, which brought Gozer in the first time because he's the one that like built Dana's building, and made it like a nexus point for something to come through, and it's all been about Gozer. In the first movie, and then you had where like basically Ivo Shandor is in his little crypt right beside this well.
So when she comes back to rule the world, he's
he's
right there ready.
Yeah, he's like, I've made this whole thing for you. I've ushered you into this world. Take me along. And she's just like, bitch, please.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, so apparently he needs to do more research on the gods he's pulling through because she was not very grateful. Or not, it wasn't even she, because they even say that. Gozer's not a he or a she.
But the people also refer to her as a goddess, so...
That's true. So, the casting was great. The way they brought back the original Ghostbusters was great. The big crime to me in Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 is that Winston, in my opinion, did not get enough time on camera.
They at least give him a stinger scene, whereas Bill Murray got one.
Yeah, like Bill Murray got one, but like, I love the fact that Winston's character, like, he did very, very good for himself. Like that. Like, he was always, to me, it was like, so you have Peter. He's the, the face, the quippy, funny science guy. You had Ray, who was like the heart, keeping the guys, trying to keep them energized about what they're doing and everything. And basically he was bankrolling everything in the first movie. You had Egon, the brains. He was the scientist that puts all this stuff together. And then you have Winston. Like, he was the mechanic, and he was also like the practical voice. So whenever they're like, we need to go in here and we'll do this, and we use the science to do this, and like Winston was always the one that was like, always like, okay guys, we need to use just a little bit more caution going into this. He was like the everyman voice. So he kept them grounded.
Was he in the first one?
Yes, the first Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it was just the original trio, and then they ended up picking him up.
Yeah,
later.
Ray, Peter, Egon, and then the business started picking up, and they're like, we need to hire a guy. And like Winston came and was like, I want to be a Ghostbuster, and they're like, what qualifies you? And he's like, I like getting paid, and you pay me enough, I'll do whatever. And so he was the guy that they brought in late in the movie.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a story behind that, but I don't remember exactly what it was because I don't think it was supposed to be like that. But I don't feel like he got enough time on camera in the first movie. And then in the second movie, I didn't, if I'm being 100% honest, I think I've only seen Ghostbusters 2 like 2 times. I saw the first one in the theater, which is like, or the second, Ghostbusters 2, first time in the theater when I was younger, and I was just like, because like the first movie it was funny, but it was a little bit more grounded and like it was a little bit more scary to me, I guess, because like Happy Slime or Mood Slime to me, just like, it was not good to me. And like the second they coded the Statue of Liberty and walked her through it was too much. Like whenever I saw Ghostbusters 2 and 3, I was like, okay. But this movie, it hit me in all the right places, all the right feels. The first time, like, I loved the relationship between the girl, was it Phoebe and the ghost of Egon. I love it started with the chess match.
Yeah.
That also made her familiar with the PKE meter, so she put together 2 and 2 that she was playing with a ghost. And like, I love how Egon did a move, she did a move. And then she did her next move, and then Egon like knocked her piece off the thing, like, we don't have time for this, come with me. And like led her to the barn to show her all the rich. I like how his character was like using the lamp to spot like all the things, this the stuff you need to look at, so she can carry on the mission.
He showed her to the trap first.
Yes, here's the
And,
trap.
and then the next time was to the barn where all of his sciencey stuff was.
Right.
To get the proton pack like repaired, as it were.
Mm-hmm. And that showed her where the suits were, like showed her all the stuff she needed to do to continue the mission since he died. But like one of my favorite parts, she was like, "Oh, you made this was it cyclometer or something like that?" And she's like,
It's
Yeah.
How'd you get something that like this strong and something that small?
and the lamp just immediately goes to the wall that has like all these fucking degrees.
PhDs, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "I get it, you're brilliant," So like I just love how they represented his character.
Yeah, through like lamp movements for the most part.
And to me, I thought that was a brilliant move. Like I thought that was just, it was a way to.
Except they don't have an impersonator ever speak a line for Egon. It's he's even when he's like full on ghost, he never says a word.
He doesn't talk, and to me that was great. Like like I don't know who they got as the body double. I don't know if it was all CG. I don't know, but I thought he looked great.
It's a mixture. So I think when I was looking through the credits, I saw like 2 Egons on there. I think one for probably when he was alive, and then the other one was probably when he was Ghost Egon.
Well, when I was just digging through here, so Ivan Reitman was like
This I would assume like the live one, and then. Or was he the ghost one? There was 2 Egons in the credits.
So in the credits that I have here on IMDb, so Ghost Egon Spengler was Ivan Reitman.
And then above that there was it just said Egon, I think, or it said Dirt Farmer. Maybe
Yeah, it's Dirt Farmer. And
so I think he played Dirt Farmer Egon, as it were.
The guy that was running around in the beginning.
Yeah.
So you had Bob Gunton
was
as the Ghost Farmer Egon Spengler.
Yeah. So I think that's before he died.
Okay.
And then after he died, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's me. That's me going off IMDb.
Yeah, I try not to watch too many other people's videos because I don't want to report their shit. But I just try to go by what I think. But anyways, I thought it was a beautiful tribute to Harold Ramis.
Yeah, I mean, even the last shot was him kind of like dissolving, and it's like for Harold, and then it kind of shows the little thing them going back to New York before it kind of starts the song again. So
Yeah. Yeah,
then you get a couple stingers.
But see, I like the way that movie ended. They fixed the problem. The Ghostbusters talked to the new Ghostbusters. I like the way that Peter walked up and said, "Hey, New York office," like almost like he was basically saying, "Y'all are the fucking Somerville office." So I liked how he was kind of acknowledging that they're the Ghostbusters for this particular area, and not like you're biting our shit. Yeah. We're taking all of our fucking equipment, and I'm taking my car, and we're leaving.
Well, they take the car back.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was fucked up that Winston took the fucking car. Like just leave that car with all of your money. Go buy a fucking brand new.
Although to be fair, it was a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old that ran through town and was shooting the proton packs.
You know what? They got it running. Let them fucking have it. How are you?
They didn't get it running. Egon helped get it running because he was starting the car and it wasn't working, and then the little wire went back in.
Yeah, but like eventually Trevor would have figured that out. But all I'm saying is like just leave the fucking car. You don't. Oh no, there's ghosts in downtown Somerville at the fucking malt shop. Okay, let's get Mom's car and fucking drive down there and let's take care of it. Because that's their chapter in Somerville of they're the Ghostbusters of this area.
Or maybe it was Winston's car.
But they didn't leave him the Ecto. Just leave him the fucking Ecto 1.
He needs the Ecto 1. They can give him a new one. Make it the Ecto 2.
Well, did he take the proton packs too?
Well, they might have, because there was 4 other ones in the mines that they could go get.
Yeah, that's true. Well, one of them got destroyed.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, that's why the movie is a perfect 10. It hit me in the feels in the perfect way. I thought it was a beautiful carry on from the original movie. Mm-hmm. They didn't really talk about Ghostbusters 2. That was fine with me. It's the movie that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have given the movie a 9. Mm-hmm. Only for the fact that they got everybody from the original movie, but they did not get Rick Moranis back.
Is not having Rick Moranis going to bump it from a 10 down to a 9?
It would have just made it perfect to have like the original cast from the movie to me back. And I even talked to Amber about it, and I think I talked to you a little bit about it, where it was like they couldn't get Rick Moranis back for the fucking movie, but like apparently Ryan Reynolds got him for a fucking phone commercial from Mint Mobile, but. Why do you come back for a fucking commercial about a cell phone thing?
But won't be in a shot for...
Yeah, but you can't just like wear the fucking symbol on your head and be like, oh, the fucking ghost dogs. Like just for like 3 seconds. It would have been perfect. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, no, it's one of those movies where like the first time I watched it, the second, third, and now the fourth time with
Okay,
you.
fourth time.
Like, it hit me in the feels every single time.
Hmm.
Every single time. The first time that Egon shows up, puts his hand on the fucking wand to like steady Phoebe out, like that made me tear up every single time. Watching all the Ghostbusters as they're basically crossing the streams, and they all look down and see him. It's like, I thought you'd show up, kind of like that. That it hits me in the feels every single time.
Well, I think those ones hit just a little bit harder since Harold Ramis is gone now too. Because I mean that shit's kind of like, man, it's kind of miss Harold.
You know, it's the man was brilliant. He's done a lot of like little things in the. It's uncovering.
I think he did. Did he do Joe versus the Volcano? I don't remember if he did that one. So that one was interesting. But I mean, he did Groundhog Day, which is such a great fucking movie.
That's one that will. So I'll go ahead and pull him up on IMDb.
I was gonna say, like, I can't remember if Joe versus the Volcano was him or not. I might be thinking of something else.
I've never liked that movie. Joe versus the Volcano. I know.
I kind of enjoyed it.
I know
it was quirky and kind of fun.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who like him, but it's just I've never been big on that one. So director. So let's just talk about what he's directed.
Yep.
So apparently, and I did not know this. Apparently, he's directed episodes of The Office.
Okay.
I don't get that one.
I don't like The Office all that much. It's okay, but it's not one of my go-tos.
Yeah, no, it's not one of my go-tos either. So no, this can't be right. Because they're saying he's done Atlanta as well. Oh, it's a different Atlanta. See, I thought this was the one with Childish Gambino. I thought this was the one with Dan Glover, but apparently it's not.
Beats me.
Apparently this has got John Billingsley in it, who's Neelix. Anyways, so let's go all the way back. So he did Caddyshack.
Okay.
National Lampoon's Vacation.
All right.
Club Paradise, which is not a movie that I liked a lot. That was a Robin Williams one.
Okay.
Groundhog's Day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to skip that one. Multiplicity.
Okay.
And that's a great movie. Analyze This, which I thought was a great movie.
Oh, he did Bedazzled.
He did Bedazzled.
All right.
I'm double checking that.
No, I believe it.
I want to read it. Yeah, director Harold Ramis.
I believe that one. I think I remember Nick and Lance mentioning that.
It's like one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite Brendan Fraser movies, and we gave it to my wife and Tim.
We'd both already seen it.
Hmm?
We'd both already seen it.
I know, and it was the only logical way to do it, but honest...
It was April 1st.
I know, but still, it was a good... It was a good... it's a great movie, but I just now realizing that he directed it.
Yeah.
Analyze That, which was okay.
I don't really remember the Analyze This and Analyze That all that much. I mean, I'm familiar with them. I just...
Crystal and De Niro, it was okay. The Ice Harvest, haven't seen that.
I don't even know what that is.
Year One,
Which was awful.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And then apparently he did some episodes of The Office.
Okay.
And that was just what he was the director of. 25 movies to his credit as an actor, and there's some good ones in here. So Stripes, he was in...
Is that the actor list?
Yes.
Okay.
So Stripes is apparently the third thing that he'd ever been in. Heavy Metal.
Yeah, I barely remember Heavy Metal.
National Lampoon's Vacation. Ghostbusters.
No, he wasn't like a writer or director on Ghostbusters. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just mentioning, like, there's some in here, but I'm just mentioning. So Ghostbusters 2. Groundhog's Day. Airheads. Airheads it's a funny one. As Good as It Gets. High Fidelity. Orange County, which I don't remember him. Orange County. Maybe it was like someone's dad.
So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you got to the IMDb on the phone seems to have actor, and then it goes to like as himself, and then like as writer.
So in Orange County, he was Don Durkett. And I think Orange County.
I don't even think I've seen Orange County.
So Orange County, I think is... No, it wasn't the one I was thinking of. So anyways, it had Jack Black in it. And I think it's Tom Hanks' son. I think. Yeah, Colin Hanks.
Okay.
But anyways, we'll get to that one when I make you watch that one. Let's see.
Is that one you're going to make me watch?
Probably not.
Because it's got to be one you want to talk about too.
I know. He was Knocked Up. And this is a movie I'm probably going to make you watch.
I've seen it before though.
Fuck. All right, so then it's going to have to be a co-video because I want to talk about this one. So he was in Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. It's one of my favorite movies.
And that's one I watched and I was like, okay. Because I think it came up when we talked about Brokeback Mountain. I'm not a huge fan of the here's the entire person's life movies where you kind of walk through the entirety of here's where they started and here's them going through the heights. Now here's them hitting the lows, and now here they're old and miserable.
Yeah,
I'm not as big into those style of movies. I like snapshots of someone's life rather than the entirety of it.
Okay,
but it's also, I mean, that's riffing on. It's not Walk Hard. What was it? The Johnny Cash one.
Yeah.
Was it called? It's not called Walk Hard. What was that one?
The Johnny Cash one was
because it was a parody of the one with Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Yeah, and I can't
remember the name of it.
And it's gonna make me mad because I am a Johnny Cash.
Maybe it's
fan.
Cash Hard.
So
it's something hard, right?
So Joaquin Phoenix. I'm not even gonna try and spell Joaquin.
Like JOA or something like that.
So Joaquin Phoenix. So that was Walk the Line.
Walk the Line, okay. Walk the Line and Walk Hard, okay.
So Walk the Line was 2005, and then Walk Hard.
It's probably 2005 or 2006.
Yeah, it would have been right on the heels of it. So if that one was 2007. So yeah, it was right on the heels of it. So, but that's a great movie. Like Walk Hard, Dewey Cox story. That's, if you haven't watched it because we've already seen it, go watch that one. But we're not talking about that one.
No.
So what did you like about the movie?
What did I like about the movie? So there's a bunch of little things in it that I liked. I kind of like I liked Phoebe. I was going to say Phoenix because we were just talking about Joaquin Phoenix. I liked Phoebe. She was a cool main character. I like that they kind of get into, you kids got to go to summer school second. We're going to watch Cujo today. And the next day they're watching Child's Play.
Yeah.
It was kind of amusing to me. Like the summer school teacher doesn't want to be there either. But it seems like he went to the region originally to there's this weird seismic activity, and it turns out the entire time Egon's been there kind of keeping all that shit.
Keeping the gates
down, but apparently it was destined to be, 'cause in 2001 there it is. So I mean, there's a lot of little shit that was kind of fun. I did like the nod to Harold and how they kind of handled the ghost of Egon.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. I kind of didn't give too much of a shit about the Trevor storyline with Lucky.
No.
So it was
just there.
It was there and not super interesting to me, at least.
Yeah. No, so I liked Podcast. He was fun.
He was okay.
But there wasn't a lot to his character.
It was kind of the gimmick character of he's always recording a podcast. I mean,
yeah,
give him a second thing to do. At least.
He's the guy that's really into the occult and stuff like that. So
yeah, the conspiracy theories, and has this conspiracy theory podcast.
Yeah, so they had to do something to ray him up a little bit. So.
Having Ray be like, oh, I listened to that. My that's
you really found your voice in the 46th episode.
And that wasn't that funny to me.
See, I thought that was funny because he said it, and then Ray says it, and it's it's just one fan.
Yeah.
I
mostly enjoyed Phoebe's shitty jokes because those are the kind of bad jokes I would make.
What do you call a fish without eyes? Yeah,
that's an old one. And and the one I really liked was, what do you call a dead polar bear? Whatever you want, it's dead. It's one of those anti-jokes.
Why can't you trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Yeah, it was good shtick, and she told it very bland and very monotone, like Egon would probably do it.
It's just like when her mom was like, be yourself and start talking to somebody, and he's like, and Finn looked back and it's like, tell me a joke, and then he's like, see, that's why you can't let her talk first.
But I thought it was funny after that. Every time she would leave the room, she's like, "Don't be yourself."
Yeah.
So I like the relationship with the mom too.
Yeah.
Because she seemed like she'd be a fun mom to have.
Yeah.
It's one of those. If the movie can get an emotion out of me, if it can engage me, if it can make me feel like there's no time passing, that's a perfect 10 movie to me. From the time I sat down in the theater, even though it's a different spin on a Ghostbuster tale, but it's a continuation of what they started out with, that movie, it just flew by. It's like it started and then it was over. And I was tearing up because I thought it ended perfectly. They figured it out. Everyone's safe. They've caught the fucking bad guy. You have that moment with Egon at the end of the movie. And then, the residual heavy energy in the area that made him appear is gone. So he either moves on or he couldn't hold that form anymore.
It seems like with him going up, it was kind of like him being gone as opposed to him
passing on or moving on.
Going, because he wasn't done yet.
Yeah, his mission was fulfilled by his granddaughter, and then just instead of it having another corny fucking joke or it just said for Harold, and then it was over.
It was done. Yeah.
And to me, I thought that was great.
That was good.
Then you have to have your Sigourney Weaver appearance, which was also great in my opinion because they were doing that gimmick with predicting the cards.
Yeah, was that in the first movie?
So in the very first time you see Peter, he's doing the little test where he has like the little blonde and then like the dude, and he's like, what am I holding up? Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't know, like a circle, and he's like, excellent, but it's like a triangle or some shit. And then he asks the guy, and the guy gets it wrong, and he shocks him. And it was just like he said at the end of Afterlife, I've never shocked the girls, I always shock the guys. But he was also telling the girls, like, you're nailing it. Are you some kind of psychic? Can you see through this card? But yeah, I thought it was fun, them redoing that scene, him with Dana, because you had to have her in the shot. I love that they gave Janine a larger part in it.
Well, it kind of seems like... So Janine is like, here's the house. Like, good luck with it. And then, like, later when the daughter calls up Ray, he's just like, oh, he died. He's like, what? That means Janine didn't tell him.
So I don't think so. She asks whenever her and Winston are talking at the end of the movie, she's like, "You're still paying, the rent at Ray's shop," and he's like, "Oh, one day he'll turn a profit." So like,
they're not communicating, but at the same time,
well, it's like she never. I don't. If out of all of the Ghostbusters, I would imagine she would have probably stayed in touch with Egon because they had like an emotional connection in the original movie. It's just logical that she would keep up with Winston because like Winston. It's not clear if she works for him. Like, I don't know if she just has a job with Winston now or if
she was just catching up or something like that.
Well, Winston says, I started this business with one employee. So it's like, it's not clear if she was the employee or if she worked for him somehow or if she just, because he's also in New York City and he's so easy to go see, like that she just stops and like, keeps tabs with him, whatever. But yeah, it makes sense that she would at least still be doing that for Egon because she just was crushing on him so hard. I would have liked to have known who Egon actually hooked up with.
Yeah.
Like that's storyline that I am interested in because, if you didn't hook up with Janine, like who is a better person for you?
Some random girl.
Yeah. So, but they gloss over that, which is fine. I don't need all the details. I'd like to know. But yeah, it made me feel the time passed. When it was over, I wanted more. In subsequent viewings afterwards, I don't get bored.
Well, I think you'll get more in 2032.
Was that what it was?
Something like that. 2032, 2034.
Something like that. Or maybe it was 2036. I can't remember, but yeah, like the part when they're in the mine and they're like, it's a calendar. Like if this happened in this year, this happened in this year, then you had the 2021, and then there was one past that because when we were watching,
it was 2030 something.
Yeah, and I remember seeing, I was like, wait, there's a number back there. So like
2034. So I think we have 13 more years.
Yeah, so in 13 more years, there's some unnamed Ghostbusters project, but hopefully we get another Afterlife movie before then. But yeah, like I honestly was expecting you to give it like a 5.
Yeah, it was fun. It was all right.
Well, just because I know you're not big on Ghostbusters, like some of the lore that they were bringing over.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it's the whole thing was Ivo Shandor was already trying to do that. Whatever metal they were pulling out of the ground was what he built the building in New York City, and he was trying to make that like the gateway for like her to come to come back.
Yeah.
And
how awful would it be? Because he's right there next to it, and every time it rises up, it gets pushed back down. But when it's rising up, Evo comes back for like just a second because he looked over at the podcast, which means like you're taking a nap at every. It's like hit up snooze and go back to sleep.
Yeah, it's like you've also got like the worst alarm too that wakes you up. A bunch of fucking a bunch of
Beams.
proton packs like going off at the same time that are crossing the streams to like hold back this psychic storm of horrible. So, but
And time to get up? No, okay, it's still there. Time to get up? No, okay, it's still there. Time to get up? No, it's still there.
the first time that happened, like the first time they showed Evo, I did not realize that was J.K. Simmons.
Once he turned his head, I saw it.
I didn't.
Oh,
Like,
really? Okay.
I did not see it. Like he turned his head and like looked at the podcast and then like laid his head back down and I didn't see it. And then Amber leaned over and was like, "That's fucking J.K. Simmons." I was like, "No." And then like later on, whenever he walks up and he's like, "My queen, I've or my God, I have made this place for you, and hopefully I can." And then she like rips him in half. I was like, "That was totally fucking J.K. Simmons."
Yep.
Like that surprised me. And all he wanted was pictures of fucking. Sorry.
Pictures of Spider-Man.
I just want pictures of Spider-Man.
He wasn't building that building to summon Gozer. He was building that building to get pictures of to start his newspaper so he could get pictures of Spider-Man.
He wanted Spider-Man to show up and fight the Gozer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but he got Ghostbusters.
I mean, that's why he thought Spider-Man was a menace. It's because Spider-Man one day, like if you have a superhero, he's gonna defeat Gozer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Spider-Man's a menace. He's stopping the god from coming in.
Yeah, but then the Ghostbusters did it in the worst way. So, and that was the other thing. Walter Peck. Like, I really wanted to see, like... So, Walter Peck was the fucking dude that, like, shut down the fucking...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the ghost... he's the one that shut down the fucking...
Turn the power off and let all the ghosts out.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Like, I wanted to see, like, some kind of at least nod to Walter Peck.
I guess they weren't in New York enough for it to be a thing.
I guess not, but it would have been like funny to like see Walter Peck working for Winston, you know, like him coming in and like I shut down these other businesses for like being false fronts, and Winston's like, "Good job, Walter," you know, like he's fighting the good fight. Even though, I will say this, Walter Peck was right in the original Ghostbusters
About
movie.
being dangerous or whatever.
Yeah, like everything they were doing was dangerous, and like they were doing everything under the cover of you wouldn't understand, but we're doing it for the better. And it's like, well, then fucking prove it. And they couldn't do that. And the thing that brought that to light to me was epic rap battles of history. They do the Ghostbusters versus the Mythbusters, and like that's one of my favorite lines is, "You built a laser grid." What was it? Oh God, I can't remember it.
But that's some shady shit.
Yeah, you built a laser grid with something. And Walter Peck was right. That's some shady shit like that. Like when they said that, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that's a good point. Then I went back and watched the original Ghostbusters. And was like, they don't really tell him anything. It's just the fact that they don't like his attitude. Like him coming in and be like, I want to see this thing. And he was actually somewhat genial in the beginning. And then Peter walks in and like immediately starts fucking with him, which causes all the adversarial. But anyways, we're not talking about Ghostbusters. But like, you know, yes, it was you built the laser grid with no safety switch, and Walter Peck was right. That's some shady shit. So, and then I know, and if you could put it down in the comments below, but like at the end of the movie where like Winston is driving, he's getting the Ecto-1 back into the garage, and then they go down to the containment, and like the little red light is flashing, which I don't know if that means like the battery's about to go out on it or something, and like that's going to be the catastrophe for the next movie.
Did they maybe build a backup laser to their thing? And
I don't know.
On his advice or whatever, like, oh, apparently we need to put a backup switch in there. And
yeah, but yeah, well, yeah. I guess he made it safer. I don't know. Like, please comment. I didn't go and look at anything else.
I wasn't sure what that was. If it was hinting at like the next event or something like that
and,
coming.
See, that's the way I took it. Like the containment's about to go down, and like that's going to be the thing that's like the catalyst for the next movie.
Well, I mean, also, so like they trap all the ghosts in the yard, and I'm like, where are they gonna put them?
Yeah.
So they used to like they took that little trap thing and would put it into like some bigger thing, or was it the cartoons? Where you like you take your trap, you plug it in, it sucks the ghost into this big thing.
Yeah.
To store them all for whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you've got all these traps, and where are you going to put them? You're just going to leave them in a trap?
So I imagine for this movie, there's just a lot more of those little fucking shuffleboard things in the floorboard of the den. You just drop them down in there.
Hide them all in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I kind of wondered if that's what those big capacitors were kind of like too, if they were the storage area for ghosts.
Yeah.
Because they were, I remember I might be wrong because it's been a long time, but those big cylinders or big
silos.
Tanks. Yeah. Isn't that where they stored ghosts, was in big tanks?
For this movie or the original one?
The originals.
The original one, it was just a big red box in the basement underneath the fire station. And it was the thing they put in. You put the ghost in the trap. You lock the thing. You push the button. The trap's empty. You pull the trap. You push this. Like, it was a fairly simple process in the original movies.
Okay.
In this one...
I might be thinking of some of the cartoons and stuff as well, where you'd plug it in and it'd be like a cylinder on a wall and it had like a little window, or I might be making shit up too.
Yeah, your mind's eye, I think, is...
Making shit up.
Yeah, it could be. But I haven't watched the real Ghostbusters cartoons in, like, forever.
Well, there was also the Extreme Ghostbusters as well, which is, I think that's the one I watched.
Well, I watched all of them. So I watched the real Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters Extreme, which I think was like the Ghostbusters after Peter and Ray and all them.
Yeah.
Because you had like the really punk rockery looking chick.
Yeah, you had the like little goth girl. You had the guy in the wheelchair. You had like the guy that was kind of like tall and lanky, but with like little hair flop, and it was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And like one other guy who I don't remember.
Yeah, who was like the Peter or something like that. And then you had the Ghostbusters, which was a dude that wore like an aviator cap. You had like your jock-looking dude, and they rode around in a car with a gorilla, and the car talked.
Yeah, that's why they were the real Ghostbusters, because they were the trademark or something was screwy.
So I think they got Ghostbusters, and then there was a Ghostbusters show in England, and I'm pretty sure they were just kind of like, what's up with that? And then they had to go with the real Ghostbusters. And then I think that's what brought it all. But like, if that's the case, then why didn't they call Afterlife like the real Ghostbusters Afterlife? If like, did they eventually like buy?
I think TV and movies are different naming conventions. I think you can have a movie named something and have a TV show named the exact same thing, and it's okay.
Okay.
But if you've got a TV show named a thing and another TV show named a thing, you have to like distinguish them. It's for like market confusability or whatever. Like if I've got a soda and I call it Ghostbusters, that's fine, because you're not going to confuse the soda Ghostbusters with the show Ghostbusters or the movie Ghostbusters. But if I decide to make maybe a live action anime or an animated thing, you can call it Ghostbusters, they can see like, well, now people are going to get confused or something from all the great copyright law I picked up on YouTube.
Copyright. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Part of it is about market confusability.
Okay. Well, I mean, I watched all of it. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like I liked watching cartoons.
Yeah.
So and I'm old, and I was watching cartoons.
What was the shit you'd want? You'd get up early on Saturday morning to go watch the cartoons.
Well, it's like even when I was in my 20s, like my life back then, and I moved into an apartment with like 3 other dudes. I had a bed that was in the den downstairs, like it was a 2-bedroom apartment. I put my bed in the fucking den, and my life at that point was go to work in an arcade, keep the games going and stuff. Then I'd come home, sleep, and then on Saturday morning, I'd be sleeping, and next thing you know, I'd get dogpiled by Pete and fucking Chuck. They'd come down and like just jump on my bed, turn on fucking cartoons, and I'm groggily watching cartoons with them, like they're sitting on my bed, like But those are good times. Like that was fun. But yeah, no, I love everything Ghostbusters. Like I'm a Ghostbusters fanatic, and I always will be. The one thing I was really happy about in this movie is they didn't have like Pink or fucking Lady Gaga or something redo the fucking Ghostbusters theme song.
It was the original theme song, which was good. And like at the end when the thing comes down, it's the original 80s sort of Ghostbusters. It looks just as shitty, and that kind of that quality of it or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, that's good. It seems like they pulled it right out of the movie.
Yeah, but like, and that's I think the other thing that bothered me. So for Ghostbusters 2, they had well, I guess they're gonna have to take control. And I think it was a song by Bobby Brown.
Yeah, okay.
But like that was their Ghostbusters song for the second movie. Now, that song was a bop, don't get me wrong, but it was weird having that song. Because he even goes into the part in the song where he's like, grab the proton packs on their back and they split. Something about Vigo, the master of evil. Try to battle my boys. That's not legal. And I was just like, okay. It was just kind of weird.
What they try to make the theme song modern or whatever.
Yeah.
And by doing so, you date it.
Yeah, but like, yeah, and I think that's the part that I had problems with. But like,
well, I just mean if you're going to make a new version of the song for Ghostbusters Afterlife, it's going to be immediately dated.
Yeah, but like the thing that was so back in the 80s, that was like the perfect time because like they actually wrote music for movies.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't,
Yeah, and they would get popular too because it was in the '90s as well. I mean, I'm sure you remember the Men in Black song by Will
yes.
Smith. Like he was the star of the movie, and he also made a song for it. And I think Wild West kind of like is when people are like, "Yeah, we should stop doing this."
Wild West is what killed it. No, you're right. You're probably right.
In the comments, name a movie song after Wild West that still managed to go like I was gonna say viral because that's kind of the term nowadays. Is there a song that picked up after Wild Wild West, or was that the last one? People were like, you know what, never mind.
So I was kind of right. So the song was called "On Our Own," and it's written by L.A. Reid, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds as Babyface, and Daryl Simmons. Produced by yada yada yada, but it was performed by Bobby Brown. So I was right at least on that. But like, it's just a weird song. But like, it was a bop, but it felt so out of place in that movie when you're watching it. And
I mean, is it weirder than... Was it the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Maybe the second one.
Go Ninja, go.
But it's in the movie itself.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's weird just because the Ninja Turtles get up on stage with fucking...
And I think it's the second one because it's the one that has Super Shredder and...
I think
Bebop
and Rocksteady or whatever.
It was the turtle. It was that weird turtle one.
Toka and Razor?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was...
That sounds right.
I remember liking the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, and then like everything after that was just kind of like.
I've not gone back to watch them. It's. I think I don't remember if I mentioned it in this video or like when we were talking earlier, but there's a couple things I watched as a kid that never transferred to adulthood for me. Mm-hmm. Ghostbusters was one of them. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like I used to love those things. Like at least like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that didn't transfer ever, whereas like Gargoyles did. That one managed to make it to adulthood, and I could still go back and watch it.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that they didn't do anything additional. They left your childhood vision alone.
Which might help, because I don't know. I mean, Star Wars transferred over to adulthood, and they've been throwing that shit around all over the place now.
Yeah.
Like pick up like a fucking handful of, I don't know, proper names from Star Wars figures or Star Wars properties, fling them at the fucking wall and say like, that one and that one, fucking Andor. We're going to do an Andor show. People liked him. Well, aren't they super interested in Andor?
Why? I don't get Caspian Andor's appeal. Like I don't get it.
Well, it's the thing I don't like about going back and filling in the blanks is I wonder what happens to Andor. I know the fuck happens to Andor. I don't give a shit. You're not going to do it. The only thing you're going to do in Andor is surround him with characters that are interesting, because he is not going to be that interesting.
Well, I think that's
not to me, because I know where he's going.
Yeah, no, he's on the planet whenever it gets boomed.
Yeah. But I just mean like in the Clone Wars, watching the Obi-Wan and Anakin episodes weren't that interesting. I was watching the Ahsoka episodes, and like when they were doing some of the other side characters, like they filled in some Plo Koon stuff, and that stuff's more interesting than just like wonder what happens to Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like, well, I know what fucking happens to those people.
Well, they could do what they did with Ahsoka. So in Rebels, basically they pulled her into the time area, and then so they robbed Vader of her death.
Yeah,
and that's why she got carried over. So technically, they could do that if they can walk with between the time periods and pull people in and deposit them back out in other places.
Ahsoka hadn't been in any Star Wars property since they'd pulled her back in from that point.
Right.
So there was a reason for her to been. Why would you saw her like go to fight Vader and then she managed to survive somehow, and you're like, oh, I wonder what that happened, and it's because that shit happened. She got pulled out before Vader finished her off and got put back afterwards and got to live. So, whereas with Andor, we saw him die. He's dead. What the fuck else are you gonna do?
You saw him embracing Jen, and then you got the Flash.
Because it's rude to show your main actors disintegrate in a fucking fire. I think you do that shit because it's nice. Every one of them motherfuckers died.
The people who made Terminator 2 does not agree with you. Because they showed Sarah Connor straight up getting the skin.
But that was the 80s, and that was traumatic. Okay. That I had nightmares about that scene when I was a kid.
Oh my god, it was such a good scene, though. Like her holding on the fence.
As an adult, it's like fucking powerful as shit.
Yeah, oh god,
as a kid, it's traumatizing.
I just loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Like everything about those movies is great. First time you see the skull, and then like the big Terminator foot's like... like that whole scene is just great.
I guess that's another thing I noticed about this movie, is the dogs. They were there. They're practical. And I'm like, look how old they even move that kind of same shitty way as it were.
Yeah, I had the stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that, and they looked like the from the other old movies. And of course, they did like the CG versions of them later, but they at least had nods to the fact that like, look, here they are. It looks better.
Yeah.
It really fucking does.
You can't beat practical effects, especially if it's like a project that you love, and you could tell there's a lot of love in this movie. I think it's so. Ivan Reitman was, I believe, the director of the original Ghostbusters movie.
Okay.
And then his son, I believe they said, was the one who did this movie.
Okay.
So you had Ivan Reitman, and then for Afterlife, it was Jason Reitman. And from what I was told, Ivan Reitman was there with Jason shooting it to make sure that it was kind of getting the tone and the feel of the first movie.
It definitely, you could tell that cared. In that, like, the people who made the last one kind of still had a say in what was going on in this one.
And it's further proof. If you love what you're doing, and you don't let the fucking
Include the people that did it.
yeah, like the first movie worked. So this one works because you're still carrying over the spirit. Like, make it for fans. Stop trying to make it sensational. Stop trying to generalize it for like the public at large. But if you make it for the people who basically love it, then everyone else will come along too. And that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
I'm also tired of every single movie trying to be like a blockbuster. I mean, those are the ones that get the most press, and I understand that. Like, you have to make the big movie to get all the eyes and get all the fucking money in the world, and you kind of lose the weird ass fucking movies. That's why I want to do like the fucking Night Teeth. Who the fuck watches Night Teeth? Apparently nobody. But that's how you get.
Not even the people who watched our review.
No, I don't think anyone who watched our review was like, Night Teeth, I'm gonna go watch that. I saw no comments that were like, hey guys, thanks for pointing me to Night Teeth.
No.
But those are those are the movies that I think we need some more of that small scale stupid shit. But it's so hard to find those movies nowadays. Like, no one's watching the trailers for Night Teeth. No one's going to Netflix and being like, oh, Night Teeth. Yeah. Like, so those get unseen. But those are like the gems that we're missing sometimes. Is that miscellaneous shit made by people who love it.
Yeah, everyone's trying to make the next Star Wars or the next Twilight.
The next Marvel nowadays. Yeah. It's how can we MCU this shit.
Yeah.
And it gets boring when I'm watching a movie and I'm like, this character is just a setup for another show they're going to do in the future. So it makes me just not give a shit about that. And I didn't get the sense from this movie that they were next movieing it. They were telling this story, and this could be the only Ghostbusters Afterlife. They gave you a stinger that maybe there's more. But if this is the only Ghostbusters movie in the Afterlife, in this continuation, it's done. It's fine. They finished it. It's good.
Yeah.
You can add to it. You don't have to. You didn't leave me hanging.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, and it is a fallacy that that everyone seems to be trying to, like, invent the next wheel or whatever. Like, everyone wants to have the next Star Wars, but like, I agree with what you're saying as far as like the Marvel stuff. The Star Wars stuff, I think they're just as guilty of doing it too.
Absolutely. MCU came out and did their thing, and now Star Wars is like, how are we going to be like the MCU?
And I think with more of with the Star Wars stuff is they just want to make figures, like, and because God knows, like, every time I turn around now, like, I just picked up 2 other figures for like the stuff I'm collecting for Jackson. I picked up the Client. So I've got a Werner Herzog figure down there as the Client.
Why?
I want to see the baby. Like, I don't know, but I have them.
Why? You're why they're there.
It's Werner Herzog. Like, it's a name amongst names who is playing a character. I bought it, but also to that point, I bought the Omega figure from Bad Batch.
I've not watched Bad Batch.
I haven't watched it either, but I have the fucking figure. But like, I think it's like every single, like, this last episode of Obi-Wan, they had like the well, I'm just saying, they had the mole guy.
Oh, okay.
And that's fucking
a figure that's going to be somewhere.
Yeah, you know who did the voice of him?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, like that's
Dr. Acula.
Yeah, there's going to be a figure now, but
yeah.
We'll talk about that in a future.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'd have already have a video up for it, since this one's coming out a little later.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not so bad. I was going to say a thing, but then we went off on a tangent.
Fuck.
It's fine. It wasn't that important.
Well, we were talking about basically everyone trying to make the next Star Wars.
Yeah, that's it. So I enjoyed Mandalorian Season 1.
Hmm.
When Mandalorian Season 2 came out, a lot of the episodes were just kind of like, Ahsoka? What do you guys think of Ahsoka? And people were like, well, yeah, Ahsoka. And they're like, okay, cool. We're going to put her up on the shelf first. And they're like, Bo-Katan? Bo-Katan? No, okay. What about this? Boba Fett? Boba Fett? Okay, Boba Fett. There. Stop it. Just do your, like, the first season was just a show. The second season was a commercial for more shows they could do, plus the show.
Yeah, true. That's true.
And I noticed that shit, and it bugs me. And I didn't get that from Afterlife. I've gotten it from I didn't really get it from Afterlife, where they're just kind of like,
Yeah.
Do you want the Winston and Janine show? So, and it was just a movie, and it was done.
I never really thought about it that way.
And they could, I mean, do you not see that shit like when you watch shows when they do like, it's like a highlight episode, but the highlight episode seems like a commercial. And it was in Stranger Things Season 2 when they had 11 go like off on her own, and she met up with 8. And that was that whole band in Chicago or whatever it was. And it had nothing to do with the entire of the other season. In fact, it was like, first season was like 8 episodes. Second season was 9 episodes. Like this was just kind of a stealth pilot for the 8 show. And I watched it and I'm like, this is a stealth pilot. I fucking hate it. Delete it from the show, please.
I thought they were just going to have like a culmination of there are like people like this all over the fucking country.
Well, I think that was going to be would you watch a show with 8 going around finding a bunch and killing a bunch of these other people? And people are like, no. And they're like, okay, put that back on the...
Thanks for your input.
Put that away. Well, it's stealth pilots. And I see that shit sometimes. And if you can do it you make the character, people like the character, make the show. Don't put the character in the show to be like, man, we want a show after this character.
I think you can thank the comic books for that, because I think they did like a Darth Vader comic book. And a character, I believe her name was called Dr. Aphra. Came out from that. So then she ended up getting her own comic book. So, but it's like, you're right. You are 100% right that, it does. These do feel like they're tests. Like
they're stealth pilots.
Because like now there's like, and to my point, you have young Leia who has the little robot Lola. There's already pre-orders for Lola up on fucking Hasbro Plus.
Yeah, of course there is.
And then there's already figures that have like the little, I think there's a Obi-Wan Kenobi figure that comes out that has like the little Lola bot that you can buy. Like it's all about the toys and the marketing stuff. But you know what? That's fine.
That's what makes money too. Yeah. And it's as long as the character doesn't feel like they're just a toy.
Yeah, like that Zach Braff character is going to be a toy that comes out that I will most likely buy.
Don't do it.
But here's my other thing.
Don't give Mole Man money.
And so I'm not going to say it here, but remind me to talk about the Zach Braff thing, because I've got a bone to pick with Zach Braff, but we'll cover it if we ever do an Obi-Wan series.
So when we're recording this, next week Obi-Wan will be done and we'll talk about it. But if you're watching this live, when you're watching this, like everyone else is going to be, it should have been a couple weeks ago. Yeah. When it's finished. So hopefully we'll have already talked about that, if we remember. If we didn't talk about it, I forgot.
Well, I've got a bone to pick with Zach Braff. I know he'll never watch this, so it's like this bone is like it will bear no fruit. But anyways,
all right. So, is there anything else you want to add about Ghostbusters Afterlife? We're reaching an hour here.
No. I mean, yes, there are other things I want to talk about, but honestly, I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Like there are a lot of little things that is just so good. The way they portrayed Harold Ramis's ghost. Like there's so much to love in this movie. And there were things that I was, actually like earmarking in my head, like try and talk about, but I don't want to talk about the whole movie. I want you to go and watch it. No. If you would like to see us talk about more stuff, write down in the comments or bring up the stuff that you liked about the movie.
Comments is a good place for it, because if he wants to do another video, it's going to be me sitting here looking at Lance going, yes, you know all this stuff about Ghostbusters.
Yeah, well, I could talk extensively about it, but like, I think that we should have a video series called Circle Back. So, so like if people in the comment are like, I want to hear you talk about this, or, tell us your opinion on this thing, there should be an episode where we go and we look at the comments and we make an episode specifically to address comments.
I think that's what comments are for.
Yes. But, like,
I mean, for us responding to comments, just to be like, That's why whenever I make a comment, I sign it with my name, since there's the two of us on the channel, so people know who they're talking to.
Yeah, I think this should be a Patreon thing.
Yeah, that too.
Our thoughts. Do you want to know two white guys' thoughts about movies? Ask in the comments below.
We have facial hair. That's unique among white people, right?
Yes.
You tell us apart because I've got the long hair.
And I'm not evil because I don't have a goatee. He has a beard, so he's not evil.
Yeah, none of us are either evil.
So, this isn't a Mirrorverse episode, but anyways, no, I have nothing more to add.
All right, so I would recommend this movie. I think as a Ghostbusters, watched it once a couple times, and you would recommend it as a avid Ghostbuster fan.
I would not recommend this movie. It's just okay.
That's what Perfect 10 means.
That's what Perfect 10 means.
All right. So that would mean she's being sarcastic. So that would mean some people can't tell.
Is he serious or?
Well, he said he gave it a 10, but he wouldn't recommend it. I'm gonna get in the comments and let him know how much of an idiot he is. Get in the comments.
And to end this episode out, I'm going to push the button on this thing.
No. We got. Hey Lance, have you seen your Jimbo?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hop the gun? My
You
bad. No, Nick, I have not seen Yo Jumbo.
Right.
Or if I have, I don't remember. It was back in my 20s. I was smoking a lot of weed back then. So I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it.
It's a Akira Kurosawa movie back from the 40s, 50s, 60s. It's something like that.
Okay.
And it is hopefully available in places. I know that it's on I think HBO Max, so I think it's viewable.
Okay.
Old school. These ones were out before cowboy movies, and kind of like cowboy movies snatched Kurosawa style and kind of adapted it there.
Totally.
So I think it'll be a good watch. I'll come over and watch it together.
Yeah, please do.
Yes.
Yo Jumbo. Okay. Yeah. I feel like that's one of the ones they put on back in the day, but like I said, a lot of weed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Seven Samurai was his big one.
Have seen that.
But Yo Jimbo was the one that kind of is a bit more of a favorite of the ones. I think I've only seen like 4 of his movies.
Now, does it have any connection to Usagi Yojimbo?
Only in that fact that Yojimbo means guardian. And Usagi means bunny.
Okay, so
We have bunny guardian.
Bunny Guardian. Okay, so
But
that's
we're watching regular Yojimbo, not bunny, not Usagi Yojimbo.
okay. Well, I know Usagi Yojimbo, so if
Okay.
you ever want to cover that, we can talk about that one.
No. All right, now you can do your bit. Order has been restored. Back to the bit.
So he's not gonna let me play the song. I'm gonna push the button. It's gonna play the song, but he's gonna cut it off because he doesn't want us to get like
Copyright strike.
yeah, copyright strike. So until next time, go out, have a good time, do your thing, comment, like, subscribe, show it to a friend, and now the dulcet tones of Ray Parker Jr.
You'll get a couple notes.
Yeah. So